Before we get into this Wall Street trapper clip, I want you to pay attention to the bigger pattern behind the headline. When the government steps in to stabilize the market, it's never random, it's strategic. And moves like this always come with a timer attached. So as you listen, think about what's being protected, what's being delayed, and how these decisions shape the opportunities you see right in front of you. Let's tap into this.
The market's exploding higher, but behind every green candle is a country that's really badly holding it together. Flights have been canceled, families unsure if they'll eat or not, and Democrats and Republicans just cut a deal to keep the government open. But the deal could collapse again in January. Now, let's think about it. The market rallied yesterday on that news. Today, we had a slight pullback based on what we heard about SoftBank and what them selling NVIDIA profit. Well, we get it. We understood. And first, let me say, happy Veterans Day. We salute y'all. We thank y'all because without y'all, we wouldn't have the freedoms that we have today. So thank y'all. But also in that, we heard that SoftBank was selling NVIDIA, so that kind of pushed the market down a little bit more in tech. But overall, you had a green market, and because the bonds wasn't there, you didn't have a lot of volatility. But I want you to think about something. The one thing at the center of it all is the Affordable Care Act, or what most people know as the Obamacare. This story isn't about politics, y'all. It's about power, it's about money, and the market's reaction when America plays chicken with itself. That's right. A lot of people really don't understand why we are at this government shutdown, the longest in history. And today in this video, we're going to break down that. We're going to get really deep into it. We're going to get into some politics for a second, but not from an angle where you favor one or another, but just so you know exactly what's going on and how you are affected. So before we get deep into this video, man, I want you to like, I want you to subscribe and shut us out, man. Let me know if we can get 2,000 likes on this. And the goal is to make this as simple as possible for you. Because at the end of this video, we're going to break down really and truly the effects of this vote, what it could do, what it can't do, and what's ahead. So let's go. Here's what just happened in Washington. Here's the quick version. Washington was hours away from a full government shutdown. That means no federal paychecks, no benefits, no flights being managed, essential services, all just chaos. We saw how that went. The Senate needed 60 votes to pass the funding bill out of 100 total seats. Well, Republicans hold 53 of those seats, Democrats hold 45 of those seats, and independents hold about 2. So 8 Democrats really broke ranks, if we being real, and voted with the Republicans, enough to get this bill to the finish line. Now, that was just to avoid a shutdown, at least for now. But it came with a promise, not a real solution. And that's what has a lot of Democrats furious, because part of the negotiation delay was to vote on Obamacare in January. And that means with Obamacare premiums on the line, those premiums could rise by 30% for a lot of Americans. So yes, the government stays open for a week right now. Probably can get it till the end of the year, but the real problem could shut right back down in January. Now, let me get that. The reason why I truly think that the bigger issue right now, and I'm gonna be real with you, I don't even think it was about SNAP benefits. I truly think the real deal was because they understand that the holiday time is the time where people spend the most money in America. A lot of companies actually make their profit for the year in the fourth quarter, in case you don't know that. A lot of companies make their full year profit in the fourth quarter, but also it is the most busiest traveling time of the year. So y'all seen these airports lately. Y'all know that chaos, and the government doesn't want to be under that kind of trouble. So my idea, this is just simple, and it's just my idea, is those Democrats that voted for that was like, yo, this is not the time for that. You know, I'm not here to say they right or wrong. But what I will say is this. Because there's no promise on the Obamacare Act in those premiums, and because the Republicans said that we'll vote on it again in January, then that means we could actually be facing this all over again, because you and I both know that voting on something don't mean that it's going to pass, which is why the Democrats are really, 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 really mad for the 8 people that switched over, because they're like, bro, y'all just got sold a promise. Y'all know in the streets we call that, it just sold y'all a dream, you hear me? And I'm not here to say what's right or wrong. I'm just want to tell us what happened. So this is why traders are watching closer than ever. This is why we really got to pay attention. This is why I be telling my people, like, yo, just be cool for a second. Now, let's think about this. You might be thinking to yourself, wait, if the government almost shut down, why is the market like rallying? Well, because Wall Street trades on one thing, and that's certainty. So every bad certainty is better than chaos. I'm gonna say that again. Even bad certainty is better than chaos. So when the bill passes, the S&P 500, the Dow, the NASDAQ, they all jump. Treasury bills dropped a little bit lower, signaling some relief. Investors moved from fear to relief. Notice that we went from extreme fear to fear. So this was just really about optimism and giving the market some breathing room, because the market does go up 76% of the time. But the breathing rooms come with a cost. And we gotta know that. Right, so if the bill fails in January, it's not just Washington that suffers. It's corporate earnings, it's consumer spending, and investor confidence. Think about it. 30% higher healthcare costs means less disposable income. Families gonna spend less. Companies make less. Market slows down. So that is why you see the market soar yesterday, and you actually saw a late day rally today. If you looked at the markets, the NASDAQ was down. Everything was red except for the Dow, and then the S&P slowly churned back, and then we saw the NASDAQ all the way down to like 90%, almost a full percent, and it rallied back almost to single digits. So I want you to understand that the stock market is always looking for a reason to go up. Now, let's just peel back another layer. Obamacare, officially Affordable Care Act, was designed to make healthcare accessible and affordable for more Americans. It helped cover people with pre-existing conditions and expand their Medicaid. The funding for it comes partly from government subsidies and insurance premiums, but the cost structure has ballooned crazy. And that's a big fight, because with inflation and rising medical expenses, insurance providers are now raising premiums. And if the government cannot stabilize it, those costs could jump out of this world. So when lawmakers debate on Obamacare, they're really debating who pays that bill. This is why the funding bill is at the bottom, and it is important, because I want you to understand something. While politicians argue, regular people are wondering if they can afford a doctor's visit, and that is no fun, especially during the holidays. It's a time of the year where everybody wants to try to find some type of joy. So the political math, here's what happens next. The Senate promises Democrats they'll vote on Obamacare in January. But a vote doesn't mean it passed. And if it fails, then that shutdown drama could be right back in our face. Now, this time, what I will say is this drama is now, next time, it won't be funded by, the holidays. They'll have nothing to let, if we're talking 43 days now, we may go 60 days then. Now, here's the twist. Trump did say he'll sign the current bill if it reaches his desk, meaning we'll likely end the shutdown probably Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. But remember, this isn't really a fix. It's a patch. The market trades for short term, but the country lives long term. So what happens today doesn't just affect us tomorrow, it affects us for the next few years. And I want us all to keep that in mind. So while we do benefit off the market, we do got to understand that there's other things at play. Wall Street reaction is simple. Traders, they want the front running relief. Stocks pop on headlines, then fade when the reality really sinks in. Historically, after government shutdowns or near misses, market rally for the short term. Then correct if spending cuts and political friction follow. That's why this week's surge, it ain't really irrational. It's kind of just a reflex. But the bigger play I need us to understand is the setup for January. This is way bigger than stocks for me when I talk to y'all. Because I always tell us we got to learn a little bit about economics, and we got to learn a little bit about what's going on. So here's what we should watch. Keep on your radar, write this down in your book, that in January, that vote on Obamacare, whether it passes or fails, it's going to spike the market. Treasury yields, if they rise again, it means traders see inflation and higher premiums ahead, and consumer sentiment. That'll tell you if Americans are still spending. Markets can rally from here if Washington stays calm, but if the vote collapses, expect a very fast pullback. And I want you to be looking for that. I want you to be monitoring it. I want you to pay attention to that. because a government shutdown is good for nobody. If it opens, what are the costs? Now, we heard Trump throw out a $2,000 stimulus for everybody. We heard Scott Bessent come back and hurry up and fix that situation. The market might be green, but the story underneath the red and blue, well, that's politics, pressure, and people. Traders chase profits. Families chase stability. Both are trying to survive in uncertainty. So while everyone's celebrating the rally, just remember the market moves faster than Main Street really feels. So stay informed, stay patient, and never make a mistake of investing while all this uncertainty is in the air. And truly don't take this as a political fix when it's only just a Band-Aid. It's not even an economic cure, it's just a Band-Aid. And so I want us to understand that as we move forward and we look in the market and we see so much. Now, I truly think that the market will rally at the end of the year. Why? Because the shutdown the opening the market up gives some relief. Stats came out that said that about 33% of all hedge funds right now are filling their benchmark. So that means they'll do a pile into stocks, push the market up. I feel for sure that we will hit 7,000 on the S&P. We'll get back to all-time highs. And then going into next year, it's time to do what? Take some profits. That's just how I feel. So I just want to give you a quick update on what's going on and what we are facing. It's your boy, the Wall Street Trapper, man. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I hope y'all having a great day. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Salute.